So it has been said that worrying is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but you're not going anywhere. So I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you shouldn't entertain your worries, especially around those worst case scenarios that we can create that can lie in the future because it's so unpredictable. So we fill those gaps with stories about, this might happen, that might happen, and they're not really pleasant stories, are they? I know for myself they're not. So I work with these 3 reasons to remind myself not to entertain my worries. And this keeps me out of that rocking chair a lot more than if I didn't work with these reasons. So let's look at the first reason. Well, when we look to the future, we create a worst case scenario. And we can say to ourselves, well, if that happens, that's going to be the end of me. I just don't see how I'm going to get through it. And we can forget that we've been through many challenging scenarios previously in our life. Each one of us has a life story. And not one of us is immune from having faced challenges in the past. But we've managed to get through that. We've adapted to the stories that have happened to us that haven't been pleasant. And the psychologists actually call this immune neglect, because as we look to the future and we create this worst case scenario, we neglect to remind ourselves that actually in the past we've also had challenging times that we've adapted to. So here's the message in this reason. You will get through whatever you face in the future. It's part of being human. We are incredibly resourceful and we will get through it. Now that's if the worst case scenario happens, which leads to the second reason as to why we shouldn't entertain our worries. And that is because we suffer from focalism. It's like we put this worst case scenario on the stage, we put a spotlight on it and we just look at it in isolation. We don't question ourselves and go, well, what else is possible? Because I have discovered in life there are a lot of good things that also happen. But whilst I'm busy focusing on the worst case scenario, I'm not paying attention to what else is possible, to all the good things that could come in and mitigate that worst case scenario. So really, nothing is ever as bad as it seems. Now, the third reason why we shouldn't entertain our worries is because of our initial thoughts. These thoughts that step into the future, fill the gaps of what we don't know with stories. And we believe those initial thoughts. We don't question them. And if we don't question them, they could be creating an illusion. So let's have a look at a diagram to represent this. In front of you right now, there's 2 red lines. You'll see the red line on the right and the red line on the left. Which do you think is the longest red line? Now, your initial thoughts might say, well, the line on the right looks longer than the one on the left. But if you have a look at it closer, you'll see that both those lines are the equal length. So that's the message. Our initial thoughts are mostly telling us a story that is not true. They're creating an illusion, and that illusion is robbing us of this present moment, of this quality of life that we have right now. So please work with these 3 reasons. Do your best to stay out of that rocking chair. And until we chat again, take care and stay aware.